is up, Bills Mafia? We have 325 days to go, 272 days. We have 263 days. We have 240 days to go. We have 198. We have 154 days. We have 97 days to go. We have 86 days to go. We have 55 days to go until the Buffalo Bills win Super Bowl 57.
And now it is time for the only channel dedicated to counting down the days until the Buffalo Bills win Super Bowl 57.
I just don't know if they're going to make it.
What is up, Bills Mafia? We have 25 days to go until the Buffalo Bills win Super Bowl 57. And this channel is going to document every single day leading up to that amazing moment with a video. Actually going live stream. Talking about what's on my mind. Thoughts that are going on in this crazy head of mine. Things I'm considering. Emotions that I'm having. Information I would like to share. Hopefully, things that I can learn from you guys. I'm a little bit early tonight, so I might have to wait a little bit for people to pop on. But here we are. It's Wednesday. And we are 91 hours, 33 minutes, 15 seconds away. Approximately, till the Bills kick off against the Bengals at Highmark Stadium. And if you're like me, it's just it's starting to hit you. You're starting to get that thing that just, it's like a creature inside your body. It's just clawing to get out. That sounded weird. It's just, we're getting to that point where it's almost game time. Where everything you do from now until Sunday is going to be in preparation for the game. You're mentally getting ready, which is strange for a fan because we're not playing, we're only watching. But we feel like somehow, some way, if we put more time, effort, and energy into thinking about this doggone game, it'll somehow, some way help propel the Bills to victory. That's the thing about sports. That's just weird. Like somehow, some way we think maybe we can help push this team over the top. Are you kidding me, Snow Turd? Oh, that's awesome, bro. Going to Atlanta for the Bills-Chiefs game. I envy you. I would love to be there. You're going to have the time of your life. A lot of Bengals fans don't think that's going to be the case, though. Bengals fans, apparently, at least the ones that I've been listening to, think that this game coming up against the Bills is just going to be nothing short of a cakewalk. I'm not exaggerating. I was listening to the what YouTube channel was it? So you can find it real quick. It was, I'm popping on YouTube and trying to find some stuff. There it is. State of the Jungle. State of the Jungle podcast. They have a great show. I ain't going to lie. They only have 3,000 subscribers, and I think that's just an injustice because their show is so good. Their ability to have great discussion is, I think it rivals some of the regular NFL analysis programs we watch. Good Morning Football, which isn't one of my favorites, but I popped in and I wanted to listen to what these guys were saying. And it was nothing short of comic. They were, one guy, I think it's the host. His name is Malik Wright. He was just going off, not only about how the Bengals are going to dominate the Bills, or at least get out of Buffalo with a win. Maybe he wasn't necessarily predicting a blowout, but then I guess he kind of was, though, because he had Burrow throwing for like 360 yards, 3 touchdowns, and running the ball for another 50 or so. He was touting Josh Allen numbers for Joe Burrow. So listening to this guy Malik talk about the Bengals game coming up against the Bills and listening to some of the Bengals fans in the chat, I'll tell you what, they were nothing short of arrogant. I was surprised because as rough and tumble as Bills fans can get, and they can get pretty rough, and they can exude some confidence and some cockiness. I know, man, it's just we have every NFL team has that type of fan in their fan base, but overall, I think Bills fans are fairly reasonable in their takes and especially over the years where we've been humbled so many times. I think that's another part of it, is that we know that we gotta watch our tongues when we're spouting off stuff, because too often it can come back to bite us in the butt. So, while watching this little production, this Bengals production, I started getting fired up because I was like, what? Talk about the lack of respect. And in the chat, I wrote, hey, Bengals fans, you and your organization are a class act. I said, I wish that both teams could move on in the AFC. No one said nothing. Not that I was, fishing for compliments or any niceties, but they didn't say anything. Nothing. There was a lot of people in there. There was like 150 people on their stream. I made a nice comment, and they just ignored it. And they just continued to blast off with their comments. And, it is a Bengals channel, so what do you expect, right? But it's still at the same time got me going. I appreciated it. These guys were definitely getting riled up and ready to rock and roll. And I guess in a way, I appreciated their cockiness, and I got going too. What's up, Jason? I'm just talking about a Bengals live stream that I was watching about an hour ago. It was called The State of the Jungle with Malik Wright. A very, very well done stream. I mean, makes mine look just silly. But this guy was just going off about how the Bengals aren't respected and how they're going to roll into Buffalo and show everybody what's up. And those watching the stream, they were sounding off too. And I started getting fired up. I started getting real fired up. But I was keeping it cool. But then I thought I'd have a little fun. And in their stream, I asked them, so how do you feel about Trey Hendrickson launching himself at Josh Allen's knees in that Monday Night Football game. And I couldn't believe what they said. They said Trey Hendrickson was just protecting his wrist, his injured wrist. So he was trying to roll off of that. I've watched the replay since, and I'm like, I guess maybe I could give him the benefit of the doubt. But for the most part, it was just short of apparent that he was trying to take out Josh Allen's knees. And then I asked the guy in the chat, I asked him, well, what do you think about Hayden Hurst, your tight end, who drove his forearm into the back of Taron Johnson's head while he was flat on the ground, face down? And the guy said, just a good block. He's just finishing his block. It was a good block. And then I thought, it's game time. It is time to take this team down. The niceties that rose to wonderful heights after the Monday Night Football game and what happened was great, but it's over. It is time to play football. And it's time to smash this team like we can smash teams when we play our brand of football. Since these cornerbacks are going to get torched, they're going to have their hands full. Here's the big one right here. They have 3 starting offensive linemen out. And our friends on this Bengals channel were trying to make light of that, saying, well, they're going to have a full week of practice, so they should be fine. Okay? And they're not worried about our pass rush, apparently. And I'll be honest with you, minus Von Miller, I'm not exactly thrilled with our pass rush. I heard a statistic that our rate of pressure before Von Miller was knocked out with an injury was like we were ranked 4 out of the 32 teams. And then after Von Miller went out, we dropped to like 27. So anyway, this is titled Game Theory. And I just kind of want to break down the Bills season, what we've seen happen week in and week out, where they are now heading into the playoffs, where are they, what we're feeling about this team after they kind of squeaked by the Dolphins. I wouldn't say they squeaked by the Dolphins. People keep saying we almost lost the Dolphins. We were winning 34-24 in the fourth quarter. They got a touchdown. And yes, they got the ball back with an opportunity to kick, tying field goal, but it didn't happen. And, aside from our, turnovers at the right time and being in the right place, etc., Buffalo handled that game. The final score should have been 34-17. Honestly, that's what the final score should have been. So I don't think we coming out of that Dolphins game, our mindset should be this team is struggling, because it really wasn't. It had some bad moments, and we need to tighten some things up. But I think overall the season, which I'm going to get to in a second, and the first playoff game shows that we're there. We are right there and poised to reel off 3 more wins in a row to bring this baby home. And I'm going to show you some things that I think it's interesting here in a second. Snow Turd says they had 30 sacks all year, and we had 40. Of course, if we hadn't had Von Miller, we'd probably be at the 30 mark also. And that's what they said. They said basically their defensive line and our defensive line, when I said I talking about this podcast that I was watching, this live stream, and we have a comparable defense to Cincinnati's. I think that's fair. Turd also says Miami has a way better offensive line. Definitely. I mean, the Bengals have the same type of offensive line they had last season. They did go to the Super Bowl with it. All right. Game theory. Couple things. So we had this season where we go 13-3 and probably should have gone 16-1. But for some reason, we're like, I don't like the way we're playing. I don't feel confident in the Bills' ability to, make it to the Super Bowl playing these better teams. Even though we beat the Chiefs this year. We beat how many playoff teams? We beat the Dolphins, playoff team. We really beat the Vikings. Let's be honest. We beat the Vikings. And we beat a lot of teams that were hot when we played them. The Detroit Lions, they were hot. And they just barely missed the playoffs. We beat the Packers. Though we beat the Packers while the Packers were struggling, they still almost made the playoffs. They were one home win away over those same Lions to making the playoffs. Anyway, what I'm saying is we beat some quality opponents. We went 13-3. And we won our first playoff game. What's up, Dave? And what's up, Advanced? Burrow is super woke. He's going to get smashed. I think Burrow's going to find himself he did go into Kansas City and win last season. So it's not like he can't handle the pressure of a road game. But, it's going to be wild, crazy. It's going to get real hectic for Joe Burrow there at the stadium on Sunday. All right. I'm going to show you guys a few things that, again, I think it's interesting. You have to have perspective overall where we are when it comes to our season because, like I said, us Bills fans are unhappy with 13-3. And yet, we were 13-3. And we won the AFC East. And we got the second seed. There have been plenty of teams to go on to win the Super Bowl that had lesser seasons and lesser playoff wins than the Bills. So we're right there. Let's go through a couple of them. I want to show you, remember the Broncos won the Super Bowl? That was with Peyton Manning, right? All right, here's their season. They started out hot, 6-0. They won some close ones, 19-13 against the Ravens, 23-20 against the Vikings, 16-10 against the Raiders. Went to overtime against the Browns, won that one 26-23. Then they kind of fall apart. After beating the Packers 29-10, they lose to the Colts. They get beat down by the Chiefs. They win a couple close games, including another one in overtime. They lose to the Raiders 15-12. Then they lose again to the Steelers, 34-27. Then they get a close win against the Bengals. And then they finish off the season beating the Chargers. So look how many losses that is. They had 4 losses, 12-4. What if Buffalo had a season like that? Would you be feeling so confident about them going into the playoffs? I think not. Then here's the playoff games for the eventual Super Bowl champion Broncos. They beat the Steelers 23-16. They beat the Patriots 20-18. How impressive were those playoff wins? And then they go on and they beat the Carolina Panthers 24-10. How are the fans feeling about the Broncos in the playoffs that year? I'm sure they had concerns about either their aging quarterback, Peyton Manning, which I don't think he actually had a very good season that year when they won the Super Bowl. I think it was more the defense, right? Wasn't that the Von Miller MVP Super Bowl? So really the defense is what won, I think, the championship for the Broncos that year. But what I'm saying is they didn't have this spectacular world-beating season. Let's go on to another one. Here's the Packers when they won the Super Bowl. They started out 3-3. Beat the Eagles and the Bills. Lose to the Bears. Squeak by the Lions. Lose 2 overtime games against the Redskins and the Dolphins. Go on a little bit of a run. Beating the Jets 9-0. But then they got a couple big wins, 45-7 and 31-13 over the Cowboys and the Vikings. But then they lose 2 of their next 3 to the Falcons. Take care of business against the Niners, but then lose 7-3 to the Lions. They finish off that season with one impressive win over the Giants, and then maybe that one against the Bears. Maybe they didn't need to play their starters. I don't know. But that is not that impressive. They lost 6 games. This is the Packers now. They went 10-6. What if the Bills went 10-6 this year? Would you be feeling all confident about a Buffalo Bills Super Bowl run? No. Packers in the playoffs that year. Road win against the Eagles. Road win against the Falcons. A really nice game put together there, 48-21. And then they squeaked by the Bears, 21-14. And then they beat the Steelers, 31-25. They got hot. They got hot at the right time. There's a blueprint for a Super Bowl champion right there. They didn't dominate all season long at all. They lost 6 games. Let's look at the Seahawks when they won the Super Bowl. They started out real hot. They squeaked by the Panthers 12-7. Then they smashed the Niners. They smashed the Jaguars. They squeaked by the Texans in overtime. Then they lose to the Colts. They beat the Titans and the Cardinals. Beat the Rams 14-9. Another overtime win. 27-24 over the Bucs. Now they got some impressive wins, the Falcons and the Vikings. But then look down the stretch. They lose 2 of their next 5. Lose to the Niners. They lose 17-10 to the Cardinals. What if that was us? We were 13-3. We could have been 16-1. So what are we having and hawing about? So let's look at the Seahawks playoffs that year that resulted in a Super Bowl championship. They squeaked by New Orleans 23-15. They squeaked by the Niners 23-17. And then they absolutely decimate the Denver Broncos 43-8. And I remember that team. That was the Legion of Boom, and they really had a great defense. But their offense wasn't exactly a nitrous oxide offense. We're going to do one more. One more. The most recent one that I wanted to share. I didn't care about the Patriots. They had Tom Brady. Wasn't going to bother with that. And I know that the Giants got in just barely with the wild card and then went on to win the Super Bowl to beat the then undefeated Patriots. I left that one out. But I wanted to show this one, the most recent, the Philadelphia Eagles. They started out hot, winning a lot of close games. Redskins, they took care of business. They lost to the Chiefs. Then they squeaked by the Giants. They squeaked by the Chargers. They take care of business against the Cardinals. They basically squeaked by the Panthers. They beat the Redskins by 10. They beat the Niners by 23. They absolutely demolished the Broncos 51-23. They take care of business against the Cowboys 37-9. They take care of business against the Chicago Bears 31-3. And then down the stretch, they have a hiccup against the Seahawks, take care of the Rams, take care of the Giants, kind of squeak by the Raiders, and then they lose 6-0 to the Cowboys. I'm sure that they didn't have any starters in that game. So that's a quality football team right there on their way to the Super Bowl. What was their record? Anybody want to guess what their record was? 13-3. Did Buffalo blow any teams out this year? How about the Rams? How about the Titans? How about the Bears? Those are 3 blowouts there. Other wins, 10-point wins against the Jets. What was the final score of that game? 22-10, I think. That's more like the Bills right there this year than those other playoff and eventual Super Bowl championship teams. Let's look at the Eagles in the Super Bowl. How did the Eagles start out that Super Bowl run in their first game? So here's this 13-3 team. They roll into the playoffs, and their first game is against the Falcons. Did they beat the Falcons 44-10? Did they beat the Falcons 38-13? Did they beat the Falcons 27-3? Now, they beat the Falcons 15-10. How are the Eagles fans feeling after they beat the Atlanta Falcons when they were going now up against the Minnesota Vikings in the NFC Championship game? Do they feel like we feel after what some say was a fortunate win against the Miami Dolphins? Probably. They're probably very nervous about that NFC Championship game. Then they went on to beat the Patriots. So what am I trying to say here? We're right there, baby. We are right there. I feel good. I feel really good. I turned a corner today on both my attitude and my emotions about this game and my enthusiasm level. Especially after listening to those Bengals fans go on and on and on and on about how they are not getting enough respect and how Joe Burrow loves playing on the road and he loves being an underdog. How the Cincinnati Bengals are up against the world. It's fun. I'm glad that they, enjoy, feeling as if somehow, some way there's something special. Can't wait for Sunday. Let's see what you guys are saying in here. Burrow has never played in front of Bills Mafia. Like I said, he went into Kansas City and pulled off a win there. I think Kansas City kind of blew it more than anything. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be his first time rolling into, Orchard Park. So we'll see. We'll see. What's up, Dave? Hot. Dave says, if I could pop it up. Hot today in Maui. Playa. Dinner soon. Okay. What are you having? Mahi-mahi? We had mahi-mahi last week. Jason says, I do hope the Jags beat the Chiefs. We all do. We all do. And that kind of stuff happens. The NFL is dying for Bills Chiefs, but, they just, a lot of times it just doesn't work out the way everybody thinks it's going to. Advance says, don't expect a flawless game in the playoffs. It's all about the win by the final gun. Remember they used to have guns? I do. I'm old enough to remember when the NFL games had guns that they fired off at the end of the game. Which seems so weird now, doesn't it? So, yeah. And Bills are going to have some gut-wrenching wins. It's the rite of passage for all Super Bowl champions. Chiefs were down by 25 to the Texans. That's right. Yeah, that's not crazy when you think about that. Totally crazy. What's up, Richard? I've noticed that teams that win a championship usually have the hardest path there, not the easiest, regardless of the sport. Welcome to tough challenges. I love it. I mean, we all would have liked the Ravens to beat the Bengals so we could have been hosting the Jaguars. But this game just had to be. For all the reasons that I don't need to get into, this game had to happen the way it's happening. So I want to leave this stream with a question, and then I'm going to do something that's kind of, I don't know, corny but fun. I want you guys in the chat to tell me, if the Bills played the Bengals 10 times, same situation, Orchard Park, same game, same weather, same injuries, everything that we're facing, everything that's going to be encompassed in this game. If we played the Bengals 10 times, how many times would the Bills win? How many times would the Bengals win? I have my ratio already in my head. I'll share it with you, but I'd like to see what you guys think, because then I want to do something kind of fun. What do you think? How many times, if we play the Bengals 10 times, right, and everything is the same each and every time, their injuries, our injuries, or actually it's lack of injuries, thankfully. Jordan Phillips, I guess, is going to be back. That's just going to be gigantic. Joe Burrow, where he is in his career. Josh Allen, the struggles that Josh has had. 10 times. How many times would the Bills win? How many times would the Bengals win? I think I might have said the Chiefs. How many times would the Bills win? How many times would the Bengals win? Advance to 7 out of 10. Patrick O'Shea says 8 out of 10. Jason says, since he's 6, Bills 4. Okay. Right? All right. So we have one that thinks that Cincinnati has the edge going into this game. 7-3, 8-10, 6-4. All right. This is one take. This is where my game theory comes into play here. There's one take that I have about sports in general, right? This game in particular and sports in general. And that is, I'm sure you've heard it. You got to have, a good team. You got to have the players. You have to have the coaching. You have to have the cohesiveness of the units. You have to have, generally a coaching staff that's been with the players and the teams for a period of time. And there's one other thing. Richard says 5 out of 5, 50%. There's one other thing that you need to have in order to win a championship in any sport. Let's see who gets it. Let's see who gets that in the chat. What is it that every team, beyond talent, beyond coaching, beyond strategy, or all the other things that goes into a championship team, what is another element of a championship run that every team needs. At least a little bit of. And then once you answer it, I'm going to do a little exercise here and show you about what we're looking at in terms of our chance to win Sunday. There it is. Advance said it. Luck! You got to have some doggone luck. Right? And I think kind of we maybe had it Sunday against the Dolphins, maybe a little bit of luck, right? I'd have to say actually the Dolphins actually had more luck than we did that day, and then we were able to just overcome it. Luck! You got to have a little luck. So here's what I'm going to do, because it's been on my mind all week. If we play the Bengals 10 times, I do believe in the same situation that the Bills are going to win 7 out of 10 times. 7 out of 10 times, the Bills are going to beat the Bengals. And you guys, for the most part, agree. Except for Jason, he thinks the Bills would win 4 out of 10 times. But I'm going to go with 7 out of 10 because it seems to make sense. So let's do it. Let's find out who wins on Sunday by doing this. We're going to spin a wheel. Are you guys ready? This is going to determine who wins the game on Sunday. I've got the Bills up there 7 times, and I have the Bengals up there 3 times. Because that's pretty much how it's going to break down. It is time to find out who wins on Sunday. And here we go. The Bills take it home, baby. The Bills take it home. Now, out of 10 times against the Chiefs, we probably win on a neutral site 5 times. So then we need to flip that coin again. I hope it comes up heads for the Bills. And then we go to the Super Bowl where we play the Niners. And maybe out of 10 times we play the Niners, maybe we win 4. That is what it's going to take. Along with Buffalo's talent and their game planning and everything else, we are going to need just a little bit of luck down the stretch here to take this home. That's right, Advance. We won, baby. Boot says, yeah. All right, so I'll have much more, about the game coming up in the next few days. Really looking forward to seeing how things shape up. I'm feeling good. Compared to yesterday, I'm feeling really good. Anything can happen. But we're almost there. And also, let me show you here real quick. If you guys get a chance, I want you to go to... If you guys get a chance, I want you guys to go to this YouTube channel, live stream, State of the Jungle. Give them some hell. Because they have no respect for us Buffalo Bills at all. Just listen to some of their takes the next time they're on, or just watch this video here to get an idea of just how crazy these Bengals fans are getting about the game coming up. It's actually very entertaining. All right, we are 25 days away, boys and girls, to the Buffalo Bills winning Super Bowl 57. I'll see you tomorrow.
The Bills make me wanna shout. Kick your heels up and shout. Throw your hands up and shout. Throw your head back and shout. Come on now, the Bills are making it happen now. Stand up now, come on and shout. Yeah, 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 yeah. Say you will. Shout it right now, baby. Say you will. Come on, come on. Say you will. Come on and shout. Say it happen now. We got the spirit, a lot of spirit, yeah. We got the spirit, just watch it happen now. Hey, 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 hey. Let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo. The Bills make me wanna shout.